What if your game could literally suck players in? And I'm not talking about bad design choices, I mean full-on black hole that drags characters in by their legs. In this video, we're building exactly that in Unreal Engine. A dynamic black hole effect with materials, a pulling mechanic, and a grab system where your character can cling onto walls, pillars, or anything solid to avoid getting swallowed. But here's the catch. Holding on drains stamina, so you'll need to mash a button to keep that grip alive. All this is happening inside the GAS project, Game Animation Sample project. Let's not waste any time getting pulled in. Let's get started. Okay, at the very first, we're gonna go into our Epic Games launcher and search for Game Animation Sample and download it for the engine version 5.4. I'm gonna select the engine version 5.4 and name the project as BlackHole with H in capital and hit create. Now, if you're starting from the very beginning, it's gonna download the whole project file and then start the project. So let's trust the process and let it download. Now, when the download is finished, we're gonna go into our Epic Games launcher and we'll see that there's a new project called the BlackHole, or the file name you selected. We're gonna double click on it and open it. Once it opens up, you're gonna see a blank level, or not so blank actually, a well put down level where you can use and test all your abilities, the jumping, the animation. It's also smooth and like butter. You can just feel the smoothness. Here we're gonna create a new folder called BlackHole. Into that folder I'm gonna create another new folder called materials, and inside that folder I'm gonna create a material and name it m_blackhole. Now once that's done, I'm gonna right click on it and create a material instance and name it mi_blackhole. Now let's open up the m_blackhole because that's the main material and change a few default settings first. Let's first change the blend mode to translucent, shading model to unlit, and on the refractions, let's use the refraction method to index of refraction. Onto the material, we're gonna start creating new things. Let's first create a parameter and name it black hole size. The default value should be 1. From there, I'm gonna create a frontal node and the exponential should be 0.05. From there, I'm gonna create another node called 1 minus that inverts the value, and then a power. The exponential here should be 10. From there, I'm gonna create a multiply node by holding M on the keyboard and clicking on the graph, and then create another parameter called black sharpness and give it a default value of 5. Next, we're gonna hook this result into the opacity. Now you can see that there's a small gradient or small fall off from the black hole and the outer edge is sharp. Next, we're gonna create our refraction. From here, I'm gonna get a time node and multiply it by a parameter called time speed. This is the value that determines how fast the pulses are. The default value here should be 1. Next, I'm going to create a time with speed variables node and hook the time from the multiply, and from there I'm going to create an add node and add the frac time into A, and B should be a frontal node which I will duplicate by pressing Ctrl D on my keyboard while selecting the node. Next, I'm gonna add another parameter called wave size and give it a default value of 2. Then another parameter called wave amount and a default value of 3. Let's rearrange this a little. Hook the wave size into exponential interpolation and the wave amount to base refract. Next, I'm gonna add a sine node right after the add node and hook this result up into the refraction, and as you can see, the black hole material is already ready. It's working exactly as we wanted. Alright, next we're gonna get out of the materials folder and create another folder called blueprints. In here, I'm gonna create a blueprint class of actor and name it BP underscore black hole. This is where the magic will happen. Okay, in here I'm gonna add a static mesh and name it black hole. I'm gonna add a static mesh of sphere. Oops, we don't have a sphere here. To bring that sphere up in here, we're gonna do a few things. Let's take a detour. Let's go into our default level, go to add, go to add features or content pack and add the starter content because that contains our sphere object. Now from here, if you search sphere, a sphere will pop up and you can see the white one. Let's use the white one, and I'm gonna change the location a bit to make this center as our main center. Okay, from here let's add our mi underscore black hole into the materials tab of the sphere, and you can see that the black hole is ready. Now let's increase the size a little and adjust the location so that it stands in the middle. Alright, this seems good. Let's bring our black hole into our level, and as you can see here, it's already working. It seems like a black hole. It will act like a black hole as well. You can see the pulses, how it refracts the light. Alright, let's hit save all and get back to the black hole blueprint. Next, in here I'm gonna add a sphere collision and resize it to our size and name it dead zone. Let's resize it. This should fit the black hole's actual size for now, and create another sphere collision called event horizon. Alright, and resize the event horizon a bit bigger. Once that's done, let's go into the event graph and do a few things. Now, let's start with the begin play. In the begin play, I'm gonna cast to our character, which is called CBP. Cast to our CBP sandbox character, not ABP actually, CBP sandbox character. That was my bad. Let's verify this to be sure. Yes, this is CBP sandbox character. Into the object, I'm gonna get player character as a reference and promote the as CBP sandbox character as a variable because we're gonna need it later on. Alright, onto the event tick, I'm gonna get a branch by holding B on my keyboard and clicking on the graph. Onto the graph, I'm gonna get the main character reference, and let's do a few nodes onto our main character. Let's add a variable called activate black hole, and the type is boolean. Bring the activate black hole and set it. Let's add a key. I'm gonna choose C key because it's easier to press, and when we press our C key, the black hole will be activated, and when we press again, it will be deactivated. To do this, I'm gonna add a flip-flop node and hook the A to the set and set the activate black hole as true. And on the B, I'm gonna do the same, duplicate it and set the activate black hole as false. Now let's comment on this and name it black hole activation. Now let's get back to the black hole blueprint, and from the main character reference, I'm gonna search for get black hole activate, get activate black hole, and hook this up to the branch. Now from the branch, I'm gonna add a sequence node, and from the sequence node, I'm gonna add get all actors of class. Now before we do anything, let's create another actor blueprint called BP underscore movable objects. Okay, up in here, I'm gonna add a static mesh. With the static mesh, I'm gonna rename it and name it movable object and select a cube. Let's reposition it, and let's first change the linear dampening to 0 and simulate physics, then angular dampening to 0.1. Everything's done here. Sorry, angular dampening to 1. everything's done here. Let's compile and save and get back to our black hole blueprint. Now let's browse to asset of our black hole of our BP movable object and use the arrow key to add that to the actor class. Now from the execution bin, I'm gonna search for each loop and hook the array to out actors. From the if array element, I'm gonna search for movable object. This will be our reference, and get my event horizon. From the event horizon, we're gonna search for get world location and duplicate it for the movable object as well. From there, I'm gonna search find look at rotation and hook the start and hook the movable objects world location as start and event horizons world location as target. Now let's search get forward vector and hook it up. From the return value, I'm gonna multiply it with a float single precision and multiply a value. We're gonna create a variable called object pull force and the type should be float and set it onto the multiply. Now let's compile and add a default value of 30. And lastly, from the loop body, we're gonna search for set physics linear velocity. Now I'm gonna delete the dead zone and hook the multiply node to the new velocity and enable the add to current. And from the array element, I'm gonna search for movable object and hook it up to the target. Hit compile and save. Now this eventing is done, and let's move on to the next part. From the event or dead zone, I'm gonna right click on it, add event, add on component begin overlap of the dead zone and search for set lifespan and hook the other actors as target, and lifespan should be 0.1. This will delete anything that collides with the if dead zone sphere collision. Now let's get back to the level and change the size of the black hole and let's test out. For testing out, we are gonna need a few of these blocks that we created, the movable objects. As these have physics enabled, I'm gonna duplicate and add a few here and there to test it out. Now let's play. When we're playing, when I hit the C key, the black hole should be activated, and as you can see here, the physics objects are working. They move when they're pushed and fall. Let's start. As you can see, everything is getting pulled here and there, getting collided, adding randomness, and things are getting deleted whenever they touch the black hole. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the first step into building a black hole system in Unreal Engine. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. So if you've got any questions, come hang out and ask me there. If you're stuck on something and need help figuring it out, drop it in the comments. I'll gladly make a video to break it down. Now here's what's next. In the next video, I'll be adding the pull force system to the black hole actually drags the character in. After that, we'll set up the grab mechanic with stamina, so the character can cling onto surfaces and fight against the pull. And of course, if you've got any ideas for what else I should add to this project, let me know. Suggestions are always welcome with open hands. If you'd like to support the channel, donations are also appreciated. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.